So we have a new moon coming in the new moon in Taurus, and it's also a solar eclipse. It begins in the late hours of tonight here on the West Coast and in the early morning hours on the East Coast. It's a very exciting new moon. Astronomically, I think it's one this kind of solar eclipse only occurs every few thousand years. It's only occurred like 68 times since people have been keeping the 5,000 years or whatever people have been keeping records for 5,000 years. In any event, astrologically, any solar eclipse is important. Traditionally, they are considered negative. That's because the light, the life-giving, rational, working, conscious self of the sun is overshadowed by the darker, more mysterious, sometimes tricky, difficult to understand, emotional light or shadow of the shadow self, of the subconscious, of the emotional self. And this is an aspect of ourself that we frequently don't pay attention to, that is often actively suppressed and certainly frequently not heard, but certainly plays itself out in many ways in our life. And with the solar eclipse, this is a time when we are invited to, and in fact really have to pay attention to that side of ourself. In fact, if we want to experience any of the benefits of this period of time, of this solar eclipse, which has some really wonderful aspects, we first do have to pay attention to that lunar side of ourself. There are some really great aspects. So for everyone, this is a good time. It can mark a time of resolution for long-standing difficulties that you've been fighting for some time. It can bring, it has enormously creative, spiritual, and enormously positive spiritual and creative aspects. And for almost every sign, the exhaustion, irritation, even depression of the past few weeks at least, if not longer, and some of the active, frustrating challenges can all be ameliorated by the positive aspects of this solar eclipse if we're willing to do the work. I'll go more into which signs are more benefited than others in a few minutes, but in that looking, in that need to look at the subconscious and the emotional side of ourself, an interesting idea to consider is something that's in one of the Yoga Sutras, which says that the way to develop a peaceful, happy mind is to actively work on developing joy or friendship towards those who are happy, compassion and understanding towards those who are suffering, and indifference towards those who are evil or negative influence. I would say that in terms of that it's important to think of like every what we would call negative or evil emotion, like anger or frustration or worry, that behind all of those there's a pain. And underscoring all of this is that I'm not just talking about how you act towards others, but to bring this into how you deal with yourself, which is really truly the hardest thing, to be joyful and friendly toward your own joyful moods. That's not so difficult. But to be compassionate in your pain and to develop indifference towards the outward manifestations of your pain that may be like, anger or frustration, not complete indifference. In fact, to look beneath them to find the hurt and therein bring forth or encourage yourself to develop the compassion, the real point, the compassion towards your own hurt. And this is really necessary right now. It's necessary also to then look at what we consider a blessing and what we consider success, because success at this period of time with a solar eclipse really requires that we look at that internal side if we want to experience what we think of as success. And we may need to also, redefine our ideas of success. And this is especially important for those who, sometimes it's most important for those who you're told it's a good time, because there can be a lot of pressure that that puts on you. In fact, often good aspects are most helpful when they're combined with difficult aspects, because the good aspects help you deal with the difficulties, and the difficulties force you to take advantage of the positive aspects. So since the solar eclipse is in Taurus, it's especially good for the other earth signs, for Capricorn and Virgo, which have both been going through some difficult times, and for Cancer, not Cancer, Capricorn and Virgo, that would be the other one, and for Taurus. Cancer also is very much benefited. It's been going through a mixed period of time. And some of the other signs like Sagittarius and Gemini, those signs too have been having a lot of difficulty, and they also will be helped. Everyone is helped. If there's any sign that has to struggle most for it, it would be the other fixed signs, not Scorpio, that would benefit, but Leo and Aquarius may have a little bit more difficulty accessing the benefits of this solar eclipse. And also every now and then I look at some generations, like in the late 90s, 1989 and 90, and around 1994, there's some aspects that may really help you creatively and spiritually, and may even make it possible, all of us could experience this, but these in particular, to, as you look internally, connect to that, the cosmic consciousness, the sound or the experience of cosmic consciousness, which once you connect to, that really puts you in a place of living authentically. If you were born 10 years before that, like 1983, 84, some of the aspects in your chart make it a little bit more difficult to do the work of this particular solar eclipse. But you still will, there's still positive aspects. So in fact, you will be forced to. So again, remember, what we define as successful, the rational, workaday, conscious side of ourself can only reach its full potential if we are willing to look at the more mysterious, emotional, subconscious side of ourselves and really connect to the difficult emotions and our own compassion, understanding, and above all, with the moon, nurturing. So enjoy it. It should be a blessed time. I look forward to talking to you in a couple of weeks. Have a good solar eclipse new moon. Bye.